Dogs are loyal companions, our best friends, and sometimes our biggest goofballs. But have you ever wondered what makes dogs special? From their incredible sense of smell to their unmatched loyalty, these furry friends have been on our side for thousands of years. Let's see if these canine companions can conquer a Pokémon Hardcore Nuzlocke challenge in Pokémon Violet. I'll only catch canine-type Pokémon including fox, wolves, and dogs of all breeds. There are already a ton of dog Hardcore Nuzlocke videos on YouTube, but let's do the J-Crit way. And so here are the Hardcore Nuzlocke rules below. Now, let the games begin. Meet Ravenna, the protagonist of this run. I'll make sure our rival chooses the cat starter Pokemon since cats and dogs are natural rivals. Our first official catch is a Fido. With this catch, the run officially begins. With only one canine Pokemon in our team, we face Nemona. Caramel needs to hit the cat with 3 Covets. Next comes Palmy and Nemona uses Terra State on it. Caramel strikes with super effective Mud Slap, causing Palmy's Thunder Shock to miss due to lowered accuracy. Second Mud Slap brings Palmy to the yellow. Though its Terra State boosted Thunder Shock connects, Caramel finishes the battle with 1 more Covet, granting us access to Mesagosa City. We catch our next Pooch, a Muschief, with the Intimidate ability, which is perfect. Then we head back to Inlet Grotto to capture a Houndour. For our final catch before the first gym, we caught a Rockruff. Now we have 3 perfect types to counter the first gym. The gym leader is Katie the Baker, who specializes in bug-type Pokemon. Caramel takes the lead using Fire Fang to bring Nimble into yellow health. Nimble fights back with Struggle Bug, but 1 more Fire Fang ends its struggle. A Yarn Ball gets hit by Fire Fang and retaliates with Bug Bite. Another Fire Fang takes it down as Katie sends out her ace Pokemon, Teddiursa. Teddiursa powers up and changes its typing to a bug type thanks to Terra State. Caramel strikes with Fire Fang but gets hit by Fury Swipes twice, dropping to yellow health. I switch to Coco for an Intimidate, but Teddiursa lands a stab's super effective Fury Cutter, bringing Coco to yellow. I send out Milk Tea, who takes a Fury Cutter hit. I activate Terra State for Milk Tea, who ends the battle with a stab's super effective Rock Throw, earning us the first Gym Badge. Next, we catch a Riolu. I travel far across the map to find a woman who confirms our friendship level with Matcha. We then catch our next companion, the fiery Growlithe. After walking around with Matcha for about an hour, he evolves into a Lucario. And this is the 3rd Lucario we're going to use in this channel. With an early powerful Lucario on our team, we destroyed the Titan Pokemon, Titan Cloth, with an Aura Sphere. It then picked up a glowing herb to power up. Phase 2 begins and ends with Aura Sphere and a Flash Cannon we picked up earlier. Too easy, don't you think? We challenge the second gym immediately with Bracius, the Grass-type specialist. With Mocha on my side, this will be a piece of cake. It only takes Flame Wheels to defeat the first 2 Pokemon. Bracius Ace, the fake Grass-type Sudowoodo. I send out Coco for an Intimidate. Then Bracius activates Terra State and uses a Trail Base, which also increases its speed. I send out Mocha again for an Intimidate. I switch to Coco with yet another Intimidate. Next, I switch to Matcha and Matcha resists the Trail Blaze. Now the faster Sudowoodo uses Trail Blaze. With a weak Trail Blaze, I ended Sudowoodo with a swift Aura Sphere and a Flash Cannon to defeat Bracius and earn us the 2nd Gym Badge. The giant bird in the sky challenges Mocha, and the giant bird got its attack drop, so I switched to Coco to do the same. But Coco got hit by Pluck. I sent out Milk Tea and got plucked, and another Pluck. And Milk Tea connects with a Rock Throw. The giant bird uses Rock Throw, and Milk Tea goes for Rock Throw too. Now at the yellow, I decided to switch to Coco again for an Intimidate. Caramel has been sent out and gets a Rock Throw. Caramel evades a Rock Throw and lands a Thunder Fang. In the last round, Rock Throw connects, and the final Play Rough ends the first phase. The giant bird powers up, and it's up to Mocha and Knackley to face it. A block sends Mocha to the yellow, and Mocha retaliates with a Thunder Fang, while Knackley boosts its speed with the Rock Polish. Mocha on the brink of death, I send out Coco for an Intimidate to lower its attack, and the giant bird attacks Knackley with a Rock Throw, and Knackley goes for Rock Polish. I switch to Matcha and Knackley now outspeeds and lands a Smackdown while Matcha avoids a Rock Throw. Knackley uses Rock Polish again and gets hit by Wing Attack, while Matcha hits it with an Aura Sphere. A final Smackdown ends the battle. We learn that Arven's dog is sick and that no amount of Poke Center and Food Restores can save it. As a fellow dog lover, we must help Arven with his task to claim the mystical herbs called Herba Mystica. I never knew that citrus berries are scattered in this area of Kitakami. The next catch of the run is a male Vulpix, another fire type. At the edge of Kitakami Road, we found a Mightyena. The trial of Team Star is a Pokemon auto battle, or more like a Pokemon extermination. The first member of Team Star, the DJ Giacomo with his Poniard. And Chocolate presents a Fire Fang on Poniard, and it also comes with a burn. Poniard attacks with Aerial Ace. One more Ember to ignite the engines of the giant Revavroom. I then switch to Mocha for an Intimidate. Then the giant car goes for a Wicked Torque. Coco does Intimidate and Revavroom goes for Metal Sound. I then switch to Caramel and it got hit by Swift. Caramel then attacks with Play Rough. I send out Matcha to finish the fight with an Aura Sphere and a Force Palm. Now don't be upset, bro. Next up is Nemona with purple shorts challenges us to a Pokemon battle. She sends out Rockruff and I go with Matcha. Matcha defeats Rockruff with a single stab super effective Aura Sphere. Send out Mocha and get paralyzed by Nuzzle. Next, Coco is up and Palmy goes for Dig. Dig connects and Coco uses Scary Face. Coco uses Bite, sending it to the red. And Coco gets paralyzed because of static. Palmy goes for Nuzzle. Palmy is now fast again and uses Charge. And Coco is unable to move. Another Nuzzle and one final Bite sends out Floragato. I swapped in Chocolate and Nemona goes for Terra State, but Floragato uses Magical Leaf. Floragato goes for Hone Claws, and a Fire Fang from Chocolate sends it to the yellow. Another Fire Fang defeats Floragato to win the battle. Now get lost, Nemona. At level 24, Chocolate evolves into the Devil, a Houndoom. The game where's Waldo is now over. Let's face the third gym and streamer Iono with her electric types. Milk Tea outspeeds and one hits Wattrel with a Rock Tomb. Bellibolt comes out, expecting a Water Gun, so I switch to Coco. And Coco gets watered down with Water Gun. I then switched to Milk Tea and got sparked. Caramel gets a Water Gun and Caramel goes for Baby Doll Eyes. A Water Gun sends Caramel to the yellow. Matcha is out and gets a Water Gun. Matcha uses an Aura Spear and Bellibolt goes for Water Gun again. Another Aura Spear and Bellibolt hits it with an Electromorphosis powered Spark. One more Aura Spear to defeat the Avocado. Luxio intimidates Matcha and then sent out Coco and does the same, but Luxio paralyzed Coco with Spark. I sent out Mocha and got hit by Spark. Mocha outspeeds with a Fire Fang and Luxio sends it to the yellow with a Spark. I stayed in for a sunny day and Mocha survives another Spark. I sent out Coco for an Intimidate and Coco got sent to the yellow with a Spark. I summoned the Chocolate and got sparked. Chocolate uses Trailblaze to boost speed and yet another Spark. One last Fire Fang to defeat Luxio as she sends out her ace Pokemon, Miss Magius. Miss Magius went for a Terra State to become an electric type. Thanks to Trailblaze and Sunny Day, it only takes 2 Fire Fangs to defeat Miss Magius and embarrass Iono in front of her audience to win our third gym badge. Since I'm too lazy to farm XP, I decided to feed Caramel some medium XP candies, so evolve it into a fully baked bread, a Dash Bun. I also did the same for Rockruff during the night, to evolve it into the infamous Lycanroc Midnight form. The loud and rowdy red-haired girl, Mela of Team Star. With Milk Tea on our side, it was only easy for him to defeat Torkoal. The giant car ignites, outspeeds us with a blazing torque, and Milk Tea responds with Rock Tomb. It is still faster thanks to its speed boost ability, and it lands another blazing torque, leaving us with yellow health. I sent out Chocolate, and thanks to Chocolate's ability Flash Fire, it manages to negate the blazing torque. I just let it bite to end the fight. We faced this dorky looking giant worm, Titan Orthworm, and we now send out Mocha, now a member of my favorite Pokemon, an Canine. Mocha dishes out 3 Fire Fangs to defeat it in its first phase. Phase 2 begins with Arven on our side with his Toadstool. Suddenly it rained and weakened fire moves, so I switched into Matcha to finish the battle with 2 Force Palms. By defeating this Giraffary, Coco evolves into a Mabosleaf. Another Firestorm in our hands, Espresso, the Vulpix evolves into a majestic Ninetales. Let's claim the 4th gym badge by challenging the Master Chef Kofu and his water types. Veluza and Vanilla now face off. Vanilla goes for Crunch while Veluza uses Aqua Cutter. One more Crunch sends out Wugtrio. Wugtrio goes for Water Pulse and Vanilla hits it with a hard-hitting Crunch. I don't want to risk a crit, so I send out Caramel. Caramel got a Headbutt. Wugtrio uses Water Pulse and a Thunder Pang KOs Wugtrio. Next is Ace Crabominable. I swap to Coco for an Intimidate. Kofu Terra States the crab into a water-type Pokemon. You know, you could just use a Kingler. Next, Crabominable lands a Crab Hammer. Coco went for Protect, and on the next round, Coco outspeeds with a Charm and dodges a Crab Hammer. Another Protect to stall the Crab. Coco lands a critical hit Thunder Pang, and Crabominable attacks with Crab Hammer. Another Protect to recover HP with leftovers, and a final Thunder Fang to seal the 4th gym badge. dull-looking man, Larry and his team of normal-type Pokemon. With Matcha on our side, we defeated Komala with a single Aura Sphere. The Dunsparce survives an Aura Sphere, and the Dunsparce uses Glare. A Quick Attack wasn't enough, and Drill Run luckily misses. One final Quick Attack defeats the Dunsparce. Larry calls his fans to cheer him on as he activates Terra State, normalizing his Staraptor. It then launches an Aerial Ace and Matcha stays paralyzed. I took the risk and Aerial Ace sends Matcha to the red, but a single Aura Sphere vaporizes the bird. Now we got the 5th gym badge in the bag. Looks like I can't say no to this battle. The disrespectful Nemona battle us once again. The first round is with Lycanroc and Matcha. Lycanroc flinches with a bite, but Matcha gains a speed boost thanks to Steadfast. Now faster, Matcha defeats Lycanroc with a stab super effective Aura Sphere. Nemona sends out Pommel, but it only takes a single Aura Sphere from Matcha to take it out. Gumi is out next. Matcha uses Quick Attack twice to send it to the red. I then send out Caramel to negate a Dragon Pulse. I switch to Chocolate and get hit by Flail, and I clearly forgot that Gumi has Sap Sipper. So Trailblaze fails. Gumi then sends Chocolate into the red. I send out Mocha to beat it with extreme speed. Meowscarada comes out with its full-powered Terra State. I then activated Terra State to give more power to Mocha. Meowscarada uses Slash and Mocha hits it with a stab super effective Fire Fang. For the last turn, Mocha outspeeds with a priority Extreme Speed to end Nemona's arrogance. On to the Snowy Mountains to catch a Greavard. We also evolve it immediately into a Houndstone. Okay kid, move over because it's our turn to face the M&M of Paldea, Rhyme and her team of ghost types. Let's start the double battle with Mimikyu and Bayonet as I send my Hounds of Darkness. Chocolate outspeeds and removes Mimikyu's disguise. Mimikyu uses a useless light screen, and Coco knocks out Bayonet with a single stab super effective crunch. Chocolate uses Bite on Houndstone, Mimikyu goes for Slash, and Coco takes out Houndstone with a crunch. Receiving lots of boost in this battle is about to end as I activated Terra State on Chocolate, and Rhyme does the same for her ace Pokemon, Toxtricity. Chocolate KOs Toxtricity with a single bite. Mimikyu uses another Slash, and Coco defeats Mimikyu with a single crunch. Now we got our 6th gym badge. Now onto the sands of Asado Desert to face a Pokemon from the future, the Quaking Titan Iron Trees. Professor Turo called and asked us to be gentle with it. Surprisingly, it outspeeds Matcha with an Iron Head, and Matcha uses a single Aura Sphere to make it run. How the heck can this machine eat? Time for the second phase of the battle as the giant Robo-Elephant powers up. It outspeeds and hits Scovillain with an Iron Head. Matcha uses an Aura Sphere, a Stomping Tantrum almost knocks out Scovillain, but one less Aura Sphere defeats the giant Robo-Elephant. Hang in there buddy, we're almost there. Let's travel to this cave to reach our next destination, Alfornada City, home of the 7th gym. Is this even a city? It only has one Pokemon Center. But first, let's deal with pesky Nemona. Lycanroc uses Crunch with a defense drop. Matcha KOs Lycanroc with a single Aura Sphere. Cute and adorable Pawmot comes out and I switch to Caramel, but got sparked. Another spark from Pawmot and Pawmot avoids a Play Rough. Another spark sends Caramel to the red and a Play Rough connects, sending Pawmot to the red as well. Matcha got hit by Spark and Matcha outspeeds with a priority Quick Attack. Next is Sliggoo. I send out Coco to take on Dragon Pulse. Coco sends it to the red with a crunch, and Sliggoo hits a critical hit Dragon Pulse, almost knocking out Coco. One more crunch from Coco says goodbye to Sliggoo. Meowscarada comes out as I send out Mocha with Intimidate. Nemona Terra States her ace and lands a Quick Attack. I activate Terra State on Mocha to give him more power. Mocha outspeeds thanks to Choice Scarf with a Fire Fang. Meowscarada survives and attacks with Slash. One less Fire Fang in the next round sends Nemona packing. Time for some minigame, where we partnered with Vanilla to do some strange dance moves. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we also have another canine companion, a Zoroark named Cappuccino. It's time for a showdown with the beauty queen Tulip and her team of psychic-type Pokemon. Farigiraf and Cappuccino, disguised as Matcha, enters the fray. Cappuccino goes for taunt and Farigiraf fails to deliver a Zen Headbutt. A Night Slash sends it to the red and another Zen Headbutt makes Tulip look dumb, followed by one final U-turn to beat it. I then switch to the real Matcha because of U-turn. To face Gardevoir, a Flash Cannon sends Gardevoir into the yellow, and a Psychic Attack sends Matcha into the yellow as well, but Citrus Berry heals. Espatra is out on the field, so I send out Coco to negate the Psychic Attack. Espatra goes for an ineffective Shadow Ball and Coco takes it out with a single stab super effective Crunch. Tulip's ace Pokemon Florges comes out to play. The Beauty Queen activates Terra State to turn her Florges into a Psychic type. Coco uses Protect to avoid the Moonblast. Next, I set out Mocha to resist a Moonblast. Mocha uses Crunch and Florges goes for Psychic. Mocha survives in the red to deliver the final crunch to claim the 7th gym badge. For the last gym battle, I faced a snowboarding champion Grusha with his Ice-type Pokemon, It was time for Espresso's debut, and he had no issues dealing with Frostmoth and Beartick. The hard as a brick wall Setitan survives a stab's super effective charcoal power fire blast, and Setitan hit it with a super effective liquidation. I sent out Coffee to take on liquidation. On the next turn, Setitan nearly knocked out Coffee with an ice spinner. Coffee then retaliated with a crunch. I sent out Matcha to resist an ice spinner, and Matcha finished Setitan with a stab's super effective flash cannon. For Grusha's last Pokemon, his ace Altaria, I switched to Milk Tea and Grusha activated Terra State, transforming her Altaria into an ice type. Altaria then hit Milk Tea with a Hurricane. I activated Terra State on the next round to land a Rock Slide on Altaria. Altaria flinches, allowing Milk Tea to land one more, to claim our 8th and last gym badge. Man, I just clearly forgot about Team Star. For being overleveled, I defeated Atticus so easily. After running around for 2 hours, I finally saw an Eevee. We will only need one evolution for this run, so I decided to go for a Glaceon. Let's take down the kid with the dorky hair, Ortega, the fairy type specialist of Team Star. I go with Cortado to face Azumarill. Cortado KOs Azumarill with a single freeze dry. His next Pokemon is Wigglytuff, so I sent out Mocha to take it on. Mocha got hit by Play Rough, Firefang sends it to the yellow, and Wigglytuff uses Charm. I summoned Caramel and got body slammed. A Play Rough from Caramel is enough to take it down. Ortega summons his own Dashband, another Charm, and Dashband uses Play Rough. I sent out Matcha and got Baby Doll Eyes. Matcha connects and KOs Dashband using a single stab super effective flash cannon. The Rock Boss Starmobile activates. It lights up the field and Matcha uses Flash Cannon. One last Flash Cannon to take it out. Using a Choice Scarf is really handy. Now go get a haircut. The final battle in Team Star is with Airy, who specializes in fighting type Pokemon. Espresso faces Toxicroak and defeats it with a quad effective Extra Sensory. Passimian survives an Extra Sensory, and Espresso gets sent to the yellow with Close Combat. One last Extra Sensory to send out Annihilate. I switch to Caramel to resist the Close Combat. Caramel goes for Play Rough and another Close Combat. One more Play Rough defeats the Angry Monkey, who refuses to die. Next, Lucario enters and gets hit by Farfang, and Lucario uses an Aura Sphere. A Play Rough sends Lucario to the red, and another Aura Sphere follows. A final Thunderfang takes care of it. Next is Cap's Starmobile, so I switch to Mocha to Intimidate it, and Revavroom proceeds with an ineffective spin out. I then send out Coffee with an Air Balloon. Revavroom then goes for Shift Gear. I then switch to Mocha for another Intimidate. Another Shift Gear follows. I kept on switch to Bait with White Horsepower and switched to Mocha to resist a spin out, until I found out that the Starmobile will never run out of PP in their moves.
You stupid!
I then started attacking with Coffee using Tail Whip. Yes, Tail Whip to lower its defense, but it's useless due to stamina. The Starmobile attacks with Spin Out to pop the balloon. Coffee goes for Shadow Ball and high horsepower from the Starmobile. I kept using Shadow Ball until it fell. The battle really took almost 30 minutes of my life. Well, it's now over. The false Dragon Titan falls to Cortado with at least 2 freeze dries. We found the little fish and went inside the cave. The gigantic fish eats the little fish and it then powers up. A freeze dry from Cortado sends it to half HP. It attacks Greedent with an Order Up, and Greedent uses Takedown. One more freeze dry unleashes its final form, Titan Tatsugiri. It outspeeds us with an Icy Wind to lower our speed and 2 quad effective freeze dry to slay the false Dragon Titan. We have slain all the Titans and got all the herbs we need. Is it enough to make Arven's doggo return to normal? Babo's teeth open its eyes, stands up and ready to play fetch. The good boy is back at full health. Mission accomplished. Before we head to the Pokemon League, let's go to the salon and change our hairstyle. Now this is the perfect look. I'm now 22 hours in the game with Matcha the Lucario, and still no effects of Pokemon on me buff. So in theory, you really need to eat a sandwich to take the effect. Let's face the first member of the Elite Four, Rika, who specializes in ground-type Pokemon. It's Whiscash versus Caramel. Caramel goes for a quad-effective Trailblaze to boost its speed, and Whiscash uses Earth Power. One more Trailblaze to defeat it. I baton past to Vanilla and Vanilla withstands a Fire Blast. I send out Caramel and Camerupt uses Yawn, a weak Trailblaze and a super effective Flash Cannon on Caramel, leaving him at 21 HP. Caramel ate its Citrus Berry to regain some HP. I send out Cappuccino disguised as Cortado, and Camerupt uses Fire Blast to send Cappuccino to the red. Cappuccino missed the Night Daze. but luckily Camerap's Fire Blast misses. Thank God. Next Pokemon is Donphan, so I sent out Coffee and Coffee gets an Earthquake. Coffee outspeeds with Charm and Earthquake sends it to the yellow. It goes back to green thanks to Citrus Berry. Another Charm and Earthquake. Coffee takes a rest and a weakened Earthquake from Donphan. Donphan keeps hammering it with Earthquake. Once Coffee woke up, Coffee uses another Charm, another Earthquake to the yellow, and Coffee goes to sleep again. Donphan keeps using Earthquake. Coffee woke up and uses Phantom Force. Coffee attacks with Phantom Force and a not so effective Poison Jab from Donphan. Another Phantom Force and weak Poison Jab. One last stab from the back with Phantom Force defeats the elephant. The fast and cunning dog trio outspeeds with Sandstorm and Coffee uses Charm on it. Coffee surprisingly outspeeds with Charm and dog trio uses Earthquake. Sucker Punch fails and Coffee proceeds with Charm. Coffee outspeeds again with Rest and dog trio hits it with Earthquake. Dog trio uses Sucker Punch twice. I then send out Coco and dog trio uses Sandstorm again. Coco uses Protect and on the next round dog trio uses Earthquake. And Coco's Crunch misses. Get it? Coco's Crunch? Another Earthquake and yet Crunch misses again. The Earthquake hits again and Crunch finally connects to defeat dog trio in one hit. For Rika's last Pokemon is her ace, Clodsire. Clodsire Terra State is now ready and it uses Protect. Coco covers itself with Protect, then Clodsire uses Protect. Coco connects with Charm and Clodsire uses Toxic. Next, Clodsire uses Toxic and Protect Stall Tactic. Coco uses Charm to further lower Clodsire's attack, then Clodsire uses Earthquake. I then send out Cortado. Clodsire protects itself and on the next turn, Cortado sends Clodsire to the red with an Ice Beam. Clodsire gets frozen, leaving Cortado to finish it with one more Ice Beam to defeat Rika of the Elite Four. The next member of the Elite Four is Poppy, Master of the Steel types. Espresso lands a Flamethrower on Caparaja, and the Steel Elephant sets up Stealth Rocks. One more Flamethrower for Bronzong to enter. Espresso uses Flamethrower and Espresso survives an Earthquake. One more Flamethrower to defeat it. Corviknight has been sent out and a Fire Blast from Espresso misses, as Corviknight sends Espresso to the red with a Brave Bird. I sent out Mocha who got hurt by Stealth Rocks and Brave Bird. Mocha goes for Fire Fang and Corviknight uses Iron Defense. One more Fire Fang to defeat the giant Steel Bird. Magnezone survives a Fire Fang thanks to Sturdy and Magnezone uses Light Screen. Mocha uses an extreme speed to smash it into the ground. Her ace and final Pokemon, the cute and dumb Tinkaton. Poppy bops Tinkaton with Terra State, turning it into a pure Steel-type Pokemon. Mocha lands a Fire Fang and luckily it got burned to reduce the damage of the super effective Stone Edge. I sent out Matcha to resist a Stone Edge, and Matcha ends Tinkaton with a single Aura Sphere to defeat Poppy of the Elite Four. The Assassin Larry with his team of Flying type is our next opponent. Larry sends out Tropius and I go with Milk Tea to set up Stealth Rocks while Tropius opts for Sunny Day. I send out Mocha and Tropius unleashes Solar Beam. Thanks to Sunny Day, Tropius no longer needs to charge, but in the next round, Sunny Day stabs super effective Fire Fang knocks it out. Larry's previous ace, Staraptor, is outspeeded by Mocha with Fire Fang and Staraptor lands a Brave Bird, sending Mocha into the yellow. One more extreme speed defeats Staraptor. Next up is an electric type Oricorio. I send out Milk Tea to take on Revelation Dance. Milk Tea outspeeds and defeats Oricorio with a single stab super effective Rock Slide. Next is the fluffy Altaria, which is taken down with a single Stone Edge. Larry's new ace Pokemon is the dangerously fast Flamigo. So I summon Caramel. Larry uses Terra State to turn Flamigo into a pure flying type. Flamigo uses Close Combat on Caramel. Caramel outspeeds with Charm, and even with Charm, a Brave Bird from Flamigo still hurts. Caramel consumes his Citrus Berry, I swap in Coco for Intimidate, and Flamigo attacks with Brave Bird. Coco uses Protect to cover from Close Combat. I send out Caramel once again, and Caramel got hit by Close Combat. I send out Cortado, and Cortado braces for Impact. Cortado defeats the Flamigo with a stab super effective Ice Beam to finish the fight, with Larry of the Elite Four. For the final member, another Dragon-type addict, Hassel. Noivern vs Milk Tea begins. Noivern with insane speed lands a Super Fang and Milk Tea sets up Stealth Rocks. Caramel enters to negate Dragon Pulse. Noivern's Super Fang triggers Caramel's Citrus Berry, and a Play Rough sends Noivern into the yellow. Another Super Fang and Trailblaze increases speed, and Caramel passes it to Cortado. Cortado resists an Air Slash. Noivern is still insanely fast, hitting Cortado with a Dragon Pulse, but one more Ice Beam finishes it off. With Trailblaze, Cortado manages to outspeed Haxorus and defeats it with a single Ice Beam. The next Pokemon is Dragalge. Dragalge has a monstrous special defense stat, so I decided to send out Vanilla to take on Sludge Bomb. Matcha is out to negate Sludge Bomb, and Matcha hits Dragalge with a critical hit Dragon Pulse. Next is the Flying Apple, Flapple. Matcha defeats it with a single Dragon Pulse. Now the arena is set up for Baxcalibur. I Terra State Matcha to turn him into a pure fighting type. Hassel does the same to Baxcalibur, turning him into a pure Dragon-type Pokemon. Matcha hits it with Dragon Pulse and Excalibur goes for Brick Break. One more Dragon Pulse to defeat the final member of the Elite Four. Just how many Dragon-type users are in the Elite Four? It's time for the second to the last battle in the Path of Victory Road, as we face La Primera Geeta. Geeta's first Pokemon is Espatra, and I go with Cappuccino disguised as Matcha. A single Night Daze is all it takes to defeat Espatra. Her next Pokemon is Gogoat. Cappuccino uses a super effective flamethrower, and Gogoat almost destroys Cappuccino with a Play Rough. Cappuccino eats a Citrus Berry to recover some HP. One more flamethrower to send out Avalugg. Anticipating a body press, I have no idea if Avalugg will survive a flamethrower. I send out Coffee and Coffee gets avalanched. I set out Espresso and takes on a Crunch. Espresso ends Avalugg with a stab super effective flamethrower. King Gambit enters and powers up with Overlord. I send out Matcha to resist a Stone Edge. Matcha takes out King Gambit with a stab quad effective Aura Spear to the face. Veluza is the next Pokemon, so I send out Mocha for an Intimidate. Veluza then proceeds with a Liquidation. I set out Coffee, and Coffee resists the Liquidation. Coffee got outspeeded by Liquidation, and Coffee uses Charm to reduce Veluza's attack. So much for attack reduction. Stupid rain. I waited for the rain to be over, Veluza strikes with Liquidation, and Coffee went to rest. Another Liquidation to lower Coffee's defense, I switched to Mocha for an Intimidate. Veluza sends Mocha into the yellow with Liquidation. Espresso is out and got hit by Liquidation. Espresso burns Veluza with Will-O-Wisp, making Liquidation to tickle a Fire type. Coffee returns and Veluza just kept on using Liquidation. Veluza opts for Aqua Jet and No Mercy Charm to further lower its attack. Coffee hides itself from the shadows and defeats Veluza with a Phantom Force. The strange and mysterious Pokemon Glimmora is now ready for battle. La Primera powers up Glimmora to turn it into an absolute Rock-type Pokemon as it hits Coffee with an Earth Power, and Coffee uses Phantom Force. Glimmora uses Terra Blast, sending Coffee to the red. Coffee attacks from the shadows with Phantom Force, sending Glimmora into the red. I send out Matcha for the final move. Glimmora uses Terra Blast and Matcha ends the battle with a Flash Cannon, and that concludes the battle against La Primera, the champion Geeta. Mabostif has now regained its strength and now wants to test it by battling us. This is how you respect a strong Pokemon like Arven's Mabostif, so let's give it what it wants as we face Arven in a Pokemon battle. Arven sends out Greedent, only to get annihilated by Matcha with an Aura Sphere. Next is Go-Villain, so I send out Espresso to power up from Fire Blast. Espresso KOs the Twin Bell Pepper with a Fire Blast. The Organical, the Salt-like Pokemon, uses Stone Edge on Matcha, and Matcha uses 2 Aura Spears to defeat it. Next up is Toedscruel, and I send out Cortado to deal with it. Toedscruel uses Spore to put Cortado to sleep. The Toad uses a hard-hitting Earth Power and another one. I sent out Coco and got Earth Powered. Coco uses Protect to protect itself from Earth Power. Coco goes for a hard-hitting Crunch and yet receives an annoying Spore from Toedscruel. Earth Power hits Coco, and on the next turn I summon Mocha, and Mocha almost gets knocked out by Earth Power. Mocha retaliates with an extreme speed. Arven's Wall Pokemon Cloyster uses Liquidation on Matcha, and Matcha defeats Cloyster with a single Aura Spear. This ace good boy Mabostif is up next. Brace yourself, buddy. I will not back down. I send out Caramel, and Arven powers up his doggo into an absolute dark Pokemon with Terra State. The good boy uses Fire Fang, but it doesn't affect Caramel thanks to its ability. Caramel powers up with Terra State, and both doggos use Play Rough. One more Play Rough from Caramel defeats the good boy. That was an awesome fight between two noble dogs. And that concludes the Path of Legends quest line. Okay, time to take off that silly disguise. Director Clavel starts the battle with Oranguru, and I go with Coco. Coco defeats the orangutan with a stab super effective Crunch. Next is the Pokemon with an abundance of weakness, Abomasnow. I send out Espresso, and Abomasnow goes for Aurora Veil. Shockingly, Abomasnow survives a quad effective Flamethrower, and Abomasnow attacks with Wood Hammer. One final Flamethrower for Houndoom to face Espresso. I send out Coco to take on Houndoom's Dark Pulse. Coco protects itself from Fire Blast, and I keep hearing a Rock Ruff. A Fire Blast misses and Coco strikes with Crunch. I send out Espresso to negate Fire Blast. Coco returns to battle and gets hit by Dark Pulse, another Protect to waste a Fire Blast PP. I send out Mocha for an Intimidate, and Mocha resists a critical hit Fire Blast. One Extreme Speed defeats the Devil Dog. Poltegeist enters and uses Shadow Ball on Coco. Coco outspeeds and one hits the Floating Teapot with a stab super effective Crunch. The Pokeball Mushroom Amogus enters, and Coco protects itself. Coco uses a critical hit Crunch, and Amogus uses Toxic to inflict poison damage. One more Crunch sends out Director Clavel's ace Pokemon, Quackable. Quackable uses an Aqua Step, and Mocha survives at 5 HP. Coco returns for an Intimidate to further lower Quackable's attack. Then Quackable strikes with Aerial Ace, followed by a Brick Break, and Coco uses its Charm. I then send out Caramel to deal with it, and Quackable uses Brick Break. Quackable outspeeds with Aqua Step, and Caramel uses a weak Trailblaze. Quackable uses another Aqua Step, and Caramel goes for Charm. Aqua Step is now weakened. Caramel uses Baton Pass to send a boosted speed to Cortado. Quackable uses Brick Break and Cortado ends the battle with a super effective Freeze Dry. I'm always the strong director. It's time to face Cassiopeia, the leader of Team Star, also known as Penny. Penny is also a Doggo user who specializes in evolution. There could only be one Doggo master in this town, so let's challenge her to a Pokemon battle. For her first Pokemon, she sends out Umbreon, so I sent out Caramel to counter it. Baby Doll Ice hits Caramel and Play Rough from Caramel was weakened. Even with the spam of Baby Doll Ice, Caramel still manages to defeat it with Play Rough. Next up is Flareon, so I sent out Espresso to negate Flareon's Flare Blitz. I sent out Caramel, who got hit by Baby Doll Ice. Caramel outspeeds with Crunch and Flareon bakes Caramel to increase Caramel's defense. A Baby Doll Ice and another Crunch. Flareon decides to attack with Quick Attack as Caramel continues with Crunch. Caramel used Trail Base 3 times to pass it on to Milk Tea. Milk Tea then uses Stomping Tantrum to defeat Flareon. Next is Vaporeon, so I swap to Cortado. A Hydro Pump sends Cortado into the yellow, and thanks to Citrus Berry, Cortado recovers. Vaporeon goes for Baby Doll Eyes and Cortado goes for a critical hit Freeze Dry. Next, the Master of Speed, Jolteon misses its Thunder on Milk Tea. Jolteon goes for Baby Doll Eyes and Milk Tea uses Stomping Tantrum. One more Baby Doll Eyes and a Stomping Tantrum later. A Thunder misses, and Milk Tea defeats it with another Stomping Tantrum. A sharp and deadly Leafeon comes out, so I send out Espresso to tank a Leaf Blade. Leafeon goes for Baby Doll Eyes and a stab super effective flamethrower to burn it down. I activated Terra State on Espresso, turning him into an absolute being of fire. Penny does the same with her ace Pokemon, Sylveon. Sylveon dodges a Fire Blast and Sylveon throws a Shadow Ball. Espresso goes for Flamethrower and Sylveon uses an ineffective Moonblast. I switched to Mocha to take on an absolute fairy. Mocha got hit by a critical hit Moonblast. Mocha landed a Fire Fang and another Moonblast sending Mocha to 45 HP. I swapped in Matcha and Matcha withstood a Moonblast. And one final Flash Cannon to prove to Penny that there is only one Doggo Master. And that concludes the Starfall Street quest line. Let's prove to Paldea that there is only one room for a Pokemon champion as we face Nemona for one last time. Two Lycanrocs face each other, but Milk Tea is faster thanks to Choice Scarf and lands a single close combat on Nemona's Lycanroc. Is it me or Palmot sounds like a turkey? I sent out Coffee to negate a close combat. I made Vanilla hold the Focus Sash in order for her to survive a double shock. Guess that is not needed. Anticipating a close combat, I switched to Coffee. I then switched to Milk Tea for the Ice Punch. I kept using Switch Stall, making sure Palmot can't use close combat anymore. Coffee used its charm to lower Palmot's attack. I then sent out Caramel to take it on. And Caramel got hit by a critical hit Ice Punch, another Ice Punch and a critical hit Trailblaze. You think you're the only one with a critical hit? Caramel with another Trailblaze and an Ice Punch from Palmot. Palmot triggers Caramel's Citrus Berry with Quick Attack and another Trailblaze to boost speed. A critical hit Quick Attack and another Trailblaze to pass it on to Coffee. Coffee with 4 times speed outspeeds Palmot with a Play Rough. Next is the Dunsparce. Coffee used Charm and the Dunsparce coiled itself. Coffee with a weak Play Rough and the Dunsparce goes for Dragon Rush. A Charm and Coil follows. Coffee hammers it with Play Rough and another Dragon Rush. Yet another Play Rough and a Dragon Rush on the next turn. Out of Play Rough, Coffee went to rest and the Dunsparce used Drill Run. Caramel returns to the battle and got drilled. A single Trailblaze defeats it. To pass the speed to Mocha, and Mocha resists an Iron Tail from Earthworm. I recalled back Mocha and sent out Coffee. Coffee then got hit by an Earthquake. An Iron Tail hits, and Coffee then uses Charm. I sent out Mocha for an Intimidate, luckily an Iron Tail misses. Coffee is out again to negate a Body Press. Orthworm goes for Iron Tail and a Charm to further reduce Orthworm's attack. Orthworm missed an Iron Tail and Coffee went into the void to attack with Phantom Force. Another Iron Tail and a Phantom Force. Coffee is really taking on this fight real good. One last critical hit Phantom Force defeats the Goofball Worm. Next up is Goodra, who attacks Coffee with a Dragon Pulse, and Coffee lands a Phantom Force. I sent out Coco to take on Goodra's Dragon Pulse. Coco used Crunch to take down that fat dragon. Nemona will not give up as she sends out her furry cat, the mischievous Meowscarada, and I sent out Mocha to take it on. The masked cat is now a pure grass-type Pokemon and attacks Mocha with a Play Rough. Mocha powers up with Terra State and Meowscarada strikes with a critical hit Thunder Punch. Mocha powers its fangs and burns the masked cat with a Terra boosted Fire Fang. You're still happy after not having any wins? Just give it up already. And that concludes the Victory Road. Let's continue our journey on the way home. We descend to the Great Crater of Area Zero only to meet another robotic motorcycle lizard. There is also an army of cyborg Pokemon ready to invade Paldea. We manage to defeat them and enter this death trap of a lab, only to find out that Professor Turor is a robot. Let's prepare to face Arven's father, Professor Turo. Here are the final good boys and girls to face him. Let's put a stop to this dangerous machine and shut down Arven's dad. AI Giga Chad Turo, the evil AI sends out Iron Moth as I begin with Milk Tea. We will stop this evil plan of yours. Iron Moth uses Discharge, proving Pokemon from the future are far greater than the present. Milk Tea sets up Stealth Rocks. Another Discharge lets Milk Tea eat his citrus berry, and Milk Tea lends a powerful stomping tantrum to defeat it. How do you like them apples? Next is the Mecha Godzilla Iron Thorns. I send out Coco to intimidate the mighty metal lizard as it hits Coco with an earthquake. Coco protects itself from Brick Break. I send out Coffee to negate Brick Break. Iron Thorns uses Stone Edge and a Charm to lower its attack. Another Stone Edge and a Charm for further attack reduction. Stone Edge sends Coffee to the yellow, and Coffee uses Play Rough with an attack drop on Iron Thorns. Coffee avoids a Stone Edge, finding an opportunity to take a rest. Iron Thorn lands a powerful hit Stone Edge on Coffee. Coffee stays in battle and gets hit by a weak Thunder Punch. The attack gets even weaker as Coffee takes another rest. Coffee once again woke up to hit Iron Thorns with a Play Rough. I then sent out Milk Tea, and Milk Tea got hit by a weak Earthquake. Do you want this kind of data on a weak super effective attack? Milk Tea defeats Iron Thorns with a Stomping Tantrum. Next is Iron Hands. So I sent out Mocha to take on a critical hit Fake Out. I then switched to Coffee to resist a Thunder Punch. Coffee loves using its charm to weaken the opponent. Coffee hits the yellow again, so it's time to take a rest again. With a weakened attack, Iron Hands just tickles Coffee. Coffee woke up with a Play Rough on Iron Hands, and Iron Hands hits Coffee with a Thunder Punch. That results in a paralyzation. Now the faster Iron Hands lands a Thunder Punch, and Coffee just got paralyzed 3 times in a row. Finally, Coffee can now move and use rest to recover while Iron Hands spams Thunder Punch. With all those stalls, I decided to take out Caramel, but Caramel got paralyzed by Thunder Punch. Thanks to a weakened attack, Caramel takes less damage from Iron Head. Caramel then retaliates with a Stab's super effective Play Rough, but it is not enough to take it down. Another Iron Head and a Trail Blaze to boost speed. Caramel now fast lands another Trail Blaze, and Iron Hands continues using Iron Head. It's time to pass the speed boost to Cortado, and Cortado braces for impact. Cortado then lands a finishing Freeze Dry. The Giga Chad sends out Iron Juggaloose. Cortado manages to knock out Mecha King Ghidorah with a single Freeze Dry, and the same goes for Iron Bundle. AI Turo is now ready to unleash his lethal weapon, a cyborg Pokemon built for extreme battles like this. The ultimate weapon, the Iron Valiant. I don't want to make any sacrifices, I go with Mocha to lower Iron Valiant's attack. Mocha got hit by Brick Break, but a Citrus Berry recovers Mocha's HP. Iron Valiant uses another Brick Break and Mocha lands a Fire Fang. I then switch to Coffee to cancel out Brick Break. I then switch to Coco for another Intimidate. Coco got hit by a super effective Spirit Break. Coco uses Protect to buy some time. I then send out Mocha for another Intimidate, and Brick Break sends Mocha into the red. I send out Coffee to avoid Brick Break. Iron Valiant uses Spirit Break. Coffee finally wakes up to land a Charm to further reduce its attack. Another Spirit Break and a Charm on Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant did the unthinkable as he hits Coffee with a critical hit Spirit Break. I was so highly confident I could finish this run without anyone fainting. Coffee has been the greatest staller in the team. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. For the final round, I sent out Cortado. Cortado faces a super effective Brick Break from Iron Valiant. Cortado avenges Coffee with one final Ice Beam to defeat the ultimate weapon, the Iron Valiant, and end this evil plan. Time for the doggos to take a rest and let them watch the epic finale as our Miraidon takes on its evil twin and one final goodbye to Arven's dad before leaving Area 0. And that is how I beat a Pokemon Hardcore Nuzlocke in Violet using Man's Best Friend. I will see you next time.